With Borderlands 4 now being confirmed to have started production, I think it's a good time to go back to the previous Borderlands games and absolutely shit on them. Because who the hell wants to talk about anything positive? No, but for real though, it's important to acknowledge what the previous game's flaws are so that we don't repeat the same mistakes again. Gearbox. So these are a few things that I don't think should return in Borderlands 4 at all from previous Borderlands games. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and yeah, let's go. First up is the big one everyone's talking about, anoints. Anointments, if you don't know, are special effect bonuses that can spawn on items in Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands. This doesn't sound that bad until you realize that there are a crap ton of them, and most of them aren't that useful. Since there were so many, the game was plagued by balancing issues that never got fixed until they eventually just fully removed sliding and slam anointments altogether, which actually ruined exactly one Zane build and nothing else. All anointments did was made farming for a particular gun that much more annoying by having only a few anointments be anywhere near worth using. It didn't even have to be like this, but even though the community constantly asked, Gearbox never made the Vault Hunter specific anointments locked to the one you were playing, which would have made farming way easier. Instead, to combat this, they added Crazy Earl's Anoint reroll machine, but it's a complete scam. I have no idea why they made one anointment reroll 250 iridium, but since they did, no one ever uses this. Another problem with anoints is that they are completely necessary for endgame, which means that whether you like it or not, you will have to farm for a specific anointment to make your build work. I thought when it was announced that they would return in Wonderlands in the form of enchantments, maybe they could make anoints work if they rework some things, but no, it's more of the same issues that plagued bl4's endgame here. The only notable difference is that they made anointment rerolling better, but it didn't really matter in the grand scheme because they still just made the game more grindy and less fun. I feel that anoints have now had their second chance to prove us wrong in Wonderlands and nothing was done to change them, so I don't want to see them return. That's it. I'm just done with them. So is everyone else. We need something different from these. Now I won't go on this next point for too long as I already released a video about it, but I do not want to see another poor excuse to not have all legendaries as dedicated drops at launch. Whether it was the grinder, loot luck, or just incredibly high world drop rates, there is always an excuse and I'm just over it. But now that we're talking about it, speaking of loot luck, yeah, it better not come back. For those who aren't aware, loot luck is a mechanic exclusive to Wonderlands that increases your world luck drop rates every time you find a golden die hidden in the maps. It was an attempt to bridge the gap between how world drops felt in BL2 to BL3, but where they went wrong was by having loot luck affect dedicated drops, meaning that you had to grind out die if you wanted to farm your dedicateds. In general though, I think loot luck is just a bad idea anyways. World drop rates should just never be that high, since it takes away of the awesome feeling you get when you get a rare drop. And speaking of that, I also don't want to see Borderlands 3's just flat out high drop rate return either. Like, that is way worse than the loot luck, and I despise the loot luck, you know. Alright, next thing I want to talk about are rare spawns. They kinda suck! I mean, mainly talking about when rare spawns also have a rare drop, which was all the time in Borderlands 3 until they patched it out and made all rare spawns with drops have a 100% chance to spawn. Since it was an issue that was fixed in BL3, you would think that obviously they wouldn't make the same mistake again, but they've repeated mistakes they've already fixed before in past Borderlands games. If you think of like the whole dedicated drops issue in pre-sequel and Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands, you know? So I wouldn't put it past Gearbox, sadly. Here's one that I feel incredibly strong about. Do not try to bring back Mayhem modifiers in any way. Like, for real, please. Mayhem modifiers in BL3 ruined endgame for me by having these incredibly annoying things happen to my game when I just wanted to play the game normally at endgame without getting blinded, swarmed, insta-killed, or having like a billion beams I need to jump over. Who the fuck made this? Eventually, after listening to fan feedback, Mayhem 11 was released, which, due to a bug that was never fixed, it gives the same exact bonuses as Mayhem 10. To be honest, we all thought we saw the last of the modifiers, but they actually returned in Wonderlands inside the Chaos Chamber. If you wanted to earn more crystals inside the Chaos Chamber, and by extension, get better loot from the loot buddies, you would have to accept curses, which are the returning Mayhem modifiers plus some new ones, which are also awful. So just to be on the safe side, I'ma just say, please Gearbox, don't bring them back, please. Anyways, you know Handsome Jack? He just kind of keeps showing up, right? I mean, he was introduced and killed in Borderlands 2. Then he had a whole prequel game about himself in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Then he showed up and was killed again as a hologram created by Professor Nakayama. And then in Borderlands 3, he showed up as a gun, the Handsome Jackhammer, and his past self in the Handsome Jackpot DLC. Like, when is enough of this guy? I love Handsome Jack as much as everyone else, but I'm fine with small references, but it always feels like Gearbox uses Handsome Jack as a crutch nowadays. Like, when they can't come up with an interesting idea to excite players, they just go, fuck it, put Handsome Jack in. The only Handsome Jack I want to see in Borderlands 4 is Timothy Lawrence, since he is a lad. No story should be solely about Handsome Jack anymore, since it's been done in every game apart from Wonderlands and New Tales. Okay, so those weren't the best examples, but the fans have been saying they've been done for Handsome Jack for ages now, and I think it's finally time to just fully move on. And for the final thing I don't want to see return to bl4, the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot shield. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, I want to go! So those were just a few of the things I don't want to see return in bl4. Let me know if there was anything that I missed. And yeah, like and subscribe, mate. I'll see you next time.